So, hello everyone, and welcome to another session where we talk about spiritual concepts. And today, again, I have Shane, uh, with whom we had a conversation previously. So, I need to say, firstly, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for liking the video because it will help the algorithm to reach to those star seeds and other light workers, wanderers, beings who are here to awaken with this information. And our target for likes in this is around 200 likes. So it will be great if we can make that. And I would like to welcome Shane to the podcast. Hello, Shane.
Hey, how's it going? Shane here again. Here to help explain what the topics we're going to talk about today. And then I'll let you give them an idea of what we're going to talk about, and I'll let you start, and then I'll go into detail of it.
Yeah. So today, basically, we are going to talk about different types of souls, the identities of souls. So because we have many different types of souls incarnated on the Earth planet, and uh, uh, we'll talk about from my channeling session as well because I have channeled the information and I've received some information. So Shane has also like he has received information through his shamanic journey in a similar manner, and he will share his perspective. So firstly, let me begin with that, okay, Shane, so that
Sounds good.
it will help you. Okay, so from my channeling sessions, uh, they have stated that there are different types of souls, such as the old souls, and there are wanderers. Okay, so old souls are entities who have incarnated many times. Uh, they have had many incarnations over and over in various star systems, and that way they have much experience. So that's old souls. Then we have wanderers, who in the sessions they have stated that they are from higher density. So because we are in the third density, they are from fourth, fifth, sixth density consciousness. Okay, that's what I received in the session. And also there are star seeds, who are specifically from other star systems and galaxies who are here for this opportunity to graduate. And then there are earth-born souls, souls who specifically incarnated on the earth itself. So they were here ever since they were in the first density, and then they progressed. Okay, so their planet of origin itself is Earth, and they have been here for the longest period of time. And then there are souls that are named as purposeful souls. These souls have a clear mission, such as to assist humanity in this time. And then we have got soul shifters, who are souls that can change and adapt their spiritual essence based on the needs and circumstances. Okay, this also includes walk-ins, like walk-in souls, where a soul comes in and switches for another soul. Okay, and then there are twin flames as well. Twin flames are two parts of the same soul that have incarnated separately. And there are also something known as super souls. Super souls are beings who have graduated from the earth but remain in the astral plane, waiting for their spiritual families to complete their lesson before transitioning to the fourth density. Wow, this is an interesting one. And then finally, they have stated there are something known as background people. They are also people who are not real, but they are generated by real souls so that they can learn certain lessons. So that's from my channeling sessions. I had made a list. So I just shared that. So Shane, can you share anything from your knowledge?
Of course. So how can we let's say we want to organize that. How does that journey start, and how do we get to those old souls and all those other things? How can we simplify that? So let's start with the star seeds. How do we get a star seed? So first, take the word star and a seed. So we have all these different stars, specifically we have our sun, and we have in Sirius, they have their suns, and all these different systems have stars that shine and light their fire, basically. So if you were here this last time we did a talk, we could say that fire is our intent when we take action. So imagine these stars are creating seeds of intent. They have a specific purpose. And they're constantly shooting these little parts of themselves like rays into all the other surrounding planets and such things like that. So what happens when this little star seed, this little part of the sun example, hits the earth? So just like a prism, when you see a light hit the prism, it turns into a rainbow. So imagine your little fire, your intent, that little piece of the star, that ray coming from the sun, hits the earth. And then it merges and becomes this rainbow of colors. It splits into different versions. And now it goes into the earth, this seed, and plants itself. And that light, that fire, and that intent gets taken by the earth and grown. So like this little seed of a soul, it like starts to sprout. You can say the first through third density, if you look at the rainbow from red to purple, the first density is like your elemental level of your soul. So you come from the sun and you take on the first density is like an element. So maybe you're the water, fire, you become like a part of the earth. And then from there, you go up the next level of the rainbow of your soul, like leveling up. You take on like a plant life form, animals, such things like that, like a nature life form. And then from that, you level up again. You become a human consciousness where we express free will. So it's your consciousness is constantly evolving and you're going through physical vessels because you're on the earth. So we go up to this third density, but then there's this fourth one, this green ray. That one hasn't yet achieved like a physical life form. Like you can't be a physical fourth density being. Like we can't become like fourth density. So that's why we're saying Earth is going through a transformation, like a cocoon, or this physical being can go up the rainbow. You can't do that right now. Like when you die, you go to heaven. You're in a different body. It's not physical. So we're trying to make that go. A physical body can go through the whole thing, just like it does from an elemental particle all the way up to a human. And we're going to try and keep that going and evolve it. But let's get a little further into it. So let's say we have these star seeds. They come to the earth. They become a human. They go through these different lives. They gather experience, or you can say like your DNA, your ancestors. So you have all this information. We call it the Akashic records. So imagine that star seed has information. Like that's my light from the star. It comes encoded with information from the sun and it merges with the information we already have here on the earth that we've already gathered. And they create this soul. He's lit by this fire and this elemental body. We have minerals and everything. And eventually it goes through another evolution. That's what you call, and the wonder is an example. So imagine you're in a job, you go up to a higher position, you take on more responsibilities, more roles, or you specialize. It's kind of like that. You're someone from free will, making all these choices. And now you're picking what you want to do. In the wonder, for example, you can now take your little own ray of light with all its new experiences, and you can go wherever you want in the cosmos. You're not just shooting from one star to a planet to another without knowing intent. You're just freely going. And then you eventually evolve where you can freely choose like where in the universe you want to go. You wander. You gather more experience. Like if it was your DNA has more ancestors, more lifetimes, more knowledge to pass on. Well, you're doing it in light, not a physical body. So imagine your body right now is just made of pure light, like you're a avatar in a video game. Imagine that's what's flying through the cosmos and gathering information freely. It doesn't die. Like a VR body that never dies. It's made of light. But this one is only here temporarily gaining experience, like a lifetime. That's where we're kind of evolving. But there's other ones. That's what they don't talk about. Like Wanderer is just one class of job specialization. You can be a healer. So imagine you can go up to the cosmos and the heavens and you specialize in healing. Some are architects. They design new worlds, new realities, new sentient life forms. Like anything you can like pick jobs here, a soul can specialize. Wanderer is just one. They're the ones who like to travel. Like imagine like a little staff in your hand. You're wandering around. You just want to go on adventures. That's a wanderer and gain new experiences. Then you have like, what's some of the other one examples? I'll go into them. You want to name them? The ones you listed? I could explain those.
Yeah. Yes. They said, earth souls. Those specifically who had, yeah.
So imagine you're that ray of light. So for example, you have in-system starseeds. So you are from our sun. You haven't left our system yet. You're an in-system. And then you could say you're a traveling starseed if one of us were to go to like the Pleiades or if we went to Sirius. So imagine we did that many, many times. We traveled all these different galaxies. Our little ray of light keeps going all around the universe. It gets more light, more light, more light. Become almost until we become like a star ourselves. So you're gathering all this light. You're a piece of a star starting out. When you hit the earth and you gain all these new particles, all this new light, you keep going other places and it's like adding, leveling up for your whole eternity. So you become different forms. So you become a star yourself. You're no longer a seed, you're a star. Like if you were to take that journey from a seed of a star till your soul becomes like a star and you start seeing all your lifetimes and experiences across the cosmos, just like the sun does. Now, it's a little complicated, but I was trying to picture it. Like, if you're just looking at stars and their rays shooting, what does that mean for a soul? How do you translate that, what you're seeing, into what a soul is? So imagine the sun's like a guy, the dad, and then the earth is like a mom. She creates the baby. You know what I mean? You're gonna put it like that perspective. He seeds the baby. She creates it with all the elements of like the body. And here you are. And there's different if you're doing it that way, imagining all the different souls you explained, there's specializations, or if you're talking about age, that means they've just been around a long time. They've gathered so many experiences. They've traveled different realities, different places, different stars, different planets. They've just been around a long time. If they were a book, they'd be super big. If you're a new soul, you'd only have a couple pages of experience. Does that kind of make sense? You're explaining it from a job or a video game, like you level up your whole eternity. And then let's say you wander backwards. That's like picking a new job. Say you were hired, you were doing something for a while, and maybe you want to try something different. You might come back, say you were on the green ray of the rainbow, the fourth one. You want to come back to the third. They were like, well, I did that. That didn't feel exactly right. So maybe I was a healer or a wanderer. Now I want to come back and be a guardian. So I'm learning that. And the third density, rooting it down, like you strengthening the roots of the guardian as if you were like a plant and you're regrowing that. So you still have everything you were. So you were a healer, now you're a guardian, you're mixing all these things you could be.
Yeah.
I like to explain it through like simple things, like you can relate to life. Like everybody works, knows what jobs are. Those can go up in roles and responsibilities. You can specialize in jobs. Then you can go back to school, back to earth, and then you can gain like different jobs and learn new things. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Also, they were talking about, from my session, they also mentioned like background people or non-player characters. Yeah. Can you share what have you received?
So imagine, well, most people are familiar with the movie The Matrix, so that's always a good, easy one to explain. So imagine there's these different lights, right? They come with these different intents, and it's lighting up this reality. So maybe some of them aren't quite that third ray soul level, but humans need something to experience to help them grow. So imagine the light of the sun and the earth is creating like an illusion almost. So maybe you're out in the woods and generally there wasn't a human there, but suddenly it's like there is. It's like a hologram, but not to you. Maybe it's real. And they're there to teach you something specifically, but they're not there like you are. Like you spent your whole life there. It may just be a temporary person like in your reality of it. Maybe exists just if you know, and maybe you'll never mention them again. And no one will ever know they existed because they were just like a background character. Or maybe you'll see like a giant, a whole bunch of people. And that's what I talked about last time. Like they don't have that fire. It's like they don't have a soul. They lost their drive, their mission. And they're not like what they came to be. So when your light's out, it's almost like you're not even there. So that light of your soul, your mission, what you were born to do and you love, it's like it's gone. And you slowly fade away. You gave it to somebody else. You're no longer a player character in a game. You've handed the controller to somebody else. You're not even playing anymore. It's like giving your controller, if you're playing a video game, you just gave it away. You're not a player. Now you're an NPC. Someone else is taking control. You don't even get no input. You don't have no controller to do any actions. There's no fire. That kind of makes sense. So you can become an NPC, and then there's some of those that are like illusions. They weren't really there in the first place, but they're there for temporarily for an experience. That's why you hear like certain weird stories like somebody on this trail and they saved this person. I don't know who they were. I can't really remember them. Like weird instances like that. There's like different versions of that. Some are like the ones you think that are bad NPCs, but also good ones. Or maybe you see like angels come in. They didn't incarnate. They're not here like we are. They temporarily come in like a NPC character in a video game, help you. They're gone. There's like different versions. Like I try to put infinity into everything I think of. Like everything can evolve and change. So you gotta look at it from multiple angles. Not just, hey, there's people out there that are NPCs and they don't really do nothing. No, NPCs, if you look at it from a video game standpoint, they still have a purpose. they're in your reality and you can react and do things with them with your fire. Does that kind of make sense? But they're not like you act clear the same way and incarnate.
I see. Yeah, that reminds me of the in another type of soul which I have received during channeling, known as the walk-in souls, where a soul leaves and another one comes in with a certain mission. And in my session, they said that I was a walk-in soul. So yeah, I had. That's what they said in a session. So what kind of information have you received about this?
So how could I translate that? Ooh, like you said earlier. So imagine you were a walk-in soul, as an example, from the Pleiades. And in that Pleiades system, you reached a level 4. You reached the green ray. That part of you has. But over here, that part of you brought to Earth, they're only 3rd ray and they're having trouble. So you're like, help me, help me, help me. Like from your own soul, you're asking for guidance. So that green ray starts to connect with this yellow ray till they like merge and do like looks like a switch. If you're creating a connection, that yellow ray is moving to the green, that green ray is moving to the yellow. So it's not exactly like, hey, you're gone. It's like there's a point in the middle where you're both like, whoop, you meet, you teach each other, both each other's essence. One's going to go closer to the Pleiades and have an easier time. The other one that's already like ascended and done this with your memories comes here. So imagine like a thread of light. One point here is already green. One point here in this new system's only reached level 3 because you're playing a new video game. So you're taking that information and you're sending it to each other. They're kind of swapping, but once they get to this point, they're also taking in like a DNA strand. The memory is like an ancestor. That kind of makes sense. If you're looking at it from a star to
Yeah,
star,
yeah, understood. Yeah, really great. Also,
still the same person. Just
yeah,
you're taking a character from almost like a different video game, bringing that knowledge with it to mix it with yours. And that one that was playing that video game, it's still you. It's like you playing 2 video games at once. You're picking up a controller, picking up a controller. This one has more knowledge, so that one picks up the controller instead. Still you. I like doing video game examples because that's how humans create realities in our realm. Is like movies, stories. Video games are good because you really get to play with light and pixels. That's sort of what you're going to be doing later on as a soul. It's with stardust instead of pixels.
yeah. And also, finally, they also mentioned about purposeful souls. Like souls who have a certain mission. Uh, they incarnate, and I think the difference is that there are some people like who don't really have a certain soul contract or a mission. They can just use their free will to choose what they want to experience, and there are other souls who have a specific mission before incarnating. So have you received like anything about this?
Purposeful souls. Well, I would think it would. You can come as a purposeful soul, like you came here for one specific mission. So imagine there's a one specific scene or an event that needs to happen in a reality, and you're that soul that's going to help manifest it like an event. Sort of like how the stars have alignments, they happen, they're going to happen. You're the one that plays the role of that event. And that's an example. Like the Christ came and had his event, everyone's aware of it. It was a big event. And then there's some who just come here like light, because light's always coming in, right? The sun's always bringing light, and it's always creating life when it mixes with the earth. So it'll naturally create free things, nature, like free growth, right? Free growth is nature, which includes souls. But some of those have specific intent and purposes. Now, usually it's encoded from that specific star. So like every star has like a database, you could say, almost, of like its own like light and codes and memories and stuff, like how it does stuff. And it shoots that to others, like to teach them.
Yeah, makes sense. So finally, yeah, finally, like, can we, before we end this session, can we delve a little bit deeper into wanderers? Like, because many wanderers, they sacrifice their polarity, to come here, to the 3rd density, because some of them are highly evolved souls. Like, they have already achieved graduation. So some of them, they come here, to teach lessons. They sacrifice their selves, and as I understand, they also, can lose their positive vibration, because they forget in Earth. They may do something really not positive, and then they may enter into the negative, polarity also. So, have you received anything about the wanderers? Like how it's very risky for them?
Of course, because here on Earth, because you have the whole forgetting. So I wrote a little bit about like what Earth stands for. So that should help like what a wanderer when I come here. So let's imagine this whole planet. It stands for time and memory. That's what the Earth stands for. So if we didn't have the Earth, imagine we have the air, the fire, and the water. They would just erratically be doing their things, but they can't remember themselves. They can't create those time, like those moments. They can't ground themselves to create like, I don't know, books, write books, all these things we write on, how we store data. That's what the Earth is for, memories and time in a way. So imagine we come here and we can't remember all of our other lifetimes, and which is both memories and time. And then we have to deal with this free will we're given again because we're on third density, which is basically call that the free will third density. Fourth density, you already know your will and you're working within it, within the love vibration. But before you come here, you already have planned out your life. So even though you're a wanderer, even though like beforehand, before you forgot, you already knew how this life could potentially go, its highest potential, some key events. So for you beforehand, it's like you got to see the whole video game or you read the whole book before you came in of your life, or you wrote it. So it's not as scary when you're the wanderer before you become the human. You already here's like if you were in the creator sitting there like, this is what I would like to do on Earth with all the others, and this is how my story goes. That you go in before you go in your incarnation, and you have this plan. So it's not as scary for when you're a wanderer. But now when you get here, you don't get the plan. You have to forget it. It's still there, and it's in here in your heart, and you express it through your senses, like your mind and stuff helps explore it, translate this plan, but it's in here. So when these wanderers start losing their access to their spark, their heart, their inner like flame of their heart that sends all the other elements to their body and creates them who they are, it can be quite challenging, and they could go backwards, like de-evolve in a way, or go towards a more negative path or polarity. Not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes when beings go in their shadow, that means they still have more to work with. But once they go through those shadows and challenges and those trials of their soul's lifetime, it's like creating a gem through all that coal. Even though it seems like you're de-evolving, you're actually exploring something. It's like going deep into a mine or a ruin. It's really dark. It's really scary and you get lost. But there's treasure in there and you just keep going. So eventually that's how you get these souls that have gone through these terrible things. They've learned how to deal with those and they bring them back to the collective, whether that's humanity, they teach it, they went through these horrible experiences themselves, and they come back even higher evolved than they originally were before they came here into this third density. So it might seem like you're going through some terrible things or you're in your shadow. It's not forever. You are the light. You can't not be the light. You can dim your light, but you can't turn it off. So when you see like a wanderer, I would say in their dark era, they will come back to the light, but they're exploring more of that darkness so you don't have to. Instead of imagining a starseed having to go through these dark journeys, you take a wanderer instead who's already experienced, like, who's older, who's been through these things, like you're their older brother. They're like, hey, you don't take the dark path, starseed. I'll take this darker one for you so you can stay on the light. And then I'll teach you what not to do because I've already been through it. Like an older brother or older sister, imagine that as like a wanderer. Sometimes they're not going to do the right thing, they'll go the wrong way, but they'll find a way in the end.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, finally, Shin, have you got some new contact information so that people can contact you if you have something or not?
Actually, busy working on a book, which I sort of sent you the other day, so I didn't get a chance yet. But like I said, they can email you and you'll send it to me, and we'll go through that. Or in the comments, I've responded to anyone that's commented. So I at least check a couple times a week, and then I'll respond to whatever your questions are. And then I will have an email probably by next time. I've just been a little busy.
Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Shane, for sharing your knowledge, and thank you for everyone for watching. So we will see you in the next session. Thank you so much.